Let's go Broncos! Behind the scenes in the NFL, a revealing conversation has just leaked with never-before-seen details about what's happening in Dallas and how the Denver Broncos can upset the league's hottest offense right now. And we're not talking about predictions, we're talking about insider information, in-depth tactical analysis, and, most importantly, what no one is talking about, how the Broncos found a way to stop one of the most explosive offenses of the season. But before I tell you everything I discovered, click like right now if you're a true Denver Broncos fan. It helps the channel immensely and shows that you are orange and blue with pride. And if you believe the Broncos can actually make it to the Super Bowl, comment below. Go, Broncos! We can make it to the Super Bowl. Now hold on tight because the story I'm about to tell will stir the emotions of any Denver Broncos fan. The Denver Broncos are about to face their biggest offensive test of the season against the Dallas Cowboys unit that's been firing on all cylinders. This isn't just a good offense, they're the highest scoring machine in the league right now. But here's where it gets interesting. The Broncos might have found their blueprint to crack the code. A behind-the-lines conversation with Cowboys analyst AOY reveals critical insights into what makes this Dallas team tick, and more importantly, where they break. The Cowboys' offensive identity is finally taking shape, and it's being built around balance. Dak Prescott isn't being asked to be Superman anymore. Instead, he's operating within a system that finally gives him some help, especially in the run game with none other than former Broncos running back Javonte Williams. Yes, Broncos country, the same Javonte we drafted, developed, and watched explode onto the scene, only to see him now fueling MVP-level performances in Dallas. AOY describes Javonte's resurgence as a key reason Dak isn't pressing as much, because now defenses are in a lose-lose situation. Stack the box and Dak can torch you, play back and Javonte will bulldoze you. But let's pause on that. How did we let Javonte Williams walk? And more importantly, how in the world is he thriving now after struggling early under Sean Payton? AOY chalks it up to recovery rhythm and mental confidence post-injury, comparing it to PTSD that fighters face after knockouts. And while he acknowledges Payton's continued faith in Williams, it's Dallas that's finally giving him the lanes and support to dominate. It's tough to swallow, Broncos fans, but we may have just handed Dallas the weapon that could be the difference between a playoff run and a Super Bowl push. If that wasn't enough, Dallas role players are stepping up in a big way. Tight end Jake Ferguson, yeah, the guy wearing 87, might be the most underrated threat Denver will face this week. He's a do-it-all blue-collar tight end who's smarter than he is fast, knows how to find soft zones, and has Dak's complete trust. And with linebacker Dre Greenlaw suspended, that spells trouble for Denver's second level. AOY even called it ahead of time. This is a Ferguson game. Expect misdirection, red zone targets, and sneaky screens designed to exploit Denver's linebacker depth. Let's talk defense, though, because that's where the Broncos still have a fighting chance. Dallas has been plagued with inconsistency and questionable decision-making, particularly from defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Despite having elite man-cover corners like Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland, Eberflus has been forcing them into zone schemes for most of the season, something that's backfired massively. Even AOY admitted that the defense only looked competent when they switched back to man coverage last week against Washington. But if Eberflus can't get out of his own way and insists on putting man corners in soft zones, Bo Nix could be poised for a breakout game. And yes, you heard that right, Bo Nix. This is the moment. Against the most explosive offense of the year, this game will be a litmus test for Nix. If he stays composed, exploits mismatches in the middle of the field, and avoids the outside corners, Denver has a real shot to not only compete, but win. This is where Payton's game plan will make or break the Broncos' playoff hopes. Dallas is vulnerable if you play it smart. But here's the wildest part. The Cowboys, as explosive as they've been, haven't beaten the Broncos since 1995. That's right, it's been nearly 30 years of Denver dominance over Dallas, and we're bringing out the throwback uniforms for this one. The stars are aligning, but it won't be easy. There's also the massive ripple effect from the Micah Parsons trade. AOY gave probably the most insightful breakdown we've heard on this topic yet. Parsons wasn't just another pass rusher, he was a generational talent misused by Dallas. Instead of utilizing him as a chess piece that could cover, blitz, stop the run, and wreak havoc from all angles, the Cowboys restricted him to being a full-time defensive end. That decision, and Parsons' own reluctance to play linebacker, essentially made him a one-dimensional player. That's why Dallas opted to trade him instead of shelling out a mega deal. And guess what? Denver got him for 2 firsts and a player. With Nick Bonitto already outperforming Micah in sacks and pressures this season, this might end up being one of George Payton's most brilliant moves yet. Because here's the thing, if Bo Nix steps up under pressure in this game, it changes everything. This isn't just about beating the Cowboys. This is about proving that Nix can go head-to-head with one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league right now and come out with a statement win. This is about showing that Sean Payton made the right choice handing him the keys to the offense. That all the offseason work, the scrutiny, the growing pains, it was all worth it. And make no mistake, this Dallas defense can be had. Even AOY, who knows the Cowboys inside and out, admitted that the personnel is talented, but the scheme has been a liability. We're talking about elite corners being asked to play zone 97% of the time for 6 straight games. That's coaching malpractice. And if Eberflus goes back to that against Bo Nix, he's asking for trouble. Denver's offense, while still developing, has enough weapons to exploit that kind of scheme. Cortland Sutton on a dig route, Marvin Mims stretching the field, and of course, our own tight ends getting into the soft spots of that zone. If Sean Payton dials it up correctly, this could be the game where everything clicks offensively. And that takes us back to the run game. If Denver can get even a fraction of the kind of production that Javonte is giving Dallas, it will open up the entire playbook. That means Samaj Perine, Jaleel McLaughlin, whoever steps up in that backfield, they have to deliver. Because as we saw in the Jets game, when the Cowboys played prevent against Javonte and got burned for a 66-yard run before halftime, it shows they can't just rely on out-athleting people anymore. If the Broncos can keep the game script neutral, meaning we don't get down early, we can pound the ball and stay balanced. And a balanced Broncos offense with Bo Nix making smart decisions? That's how you pull off an upset. But let's flip back to the defense because this game will hinge on what Vance Joseph dials up. The Cowboys will absolutely try to exploit the absence of Dre Greenlaw. Expect a ton of short passes to Ferguson, screen plays, motion with Turpin, and misdirection runs with the hope of catching our linebackers over pursuing. That's where Denver has to stay disciplined. If Alex Singleton and Josie Jewell can stay sound and avoid biting on that candy, we can limit the damage. Certain will take care of his assignment, we know that. But if this becomes a game of role players, the Broncos have to win that battle. And speaking of role players, the transformation of George Pickens in Denver deserves some attention. AOY said it best, Pickens came in with a reputation for being a diva, but he's bought into the culture. No eye-black messages, no tantrums, just football. Maybe it's the structure, maybe it's the wake-up call from watching other guys get paid before him, but whatever it is, he's embraced his role. That maturity could be the secret weapon. With Dallas likely focused on Sutton and Mims, Pickens could find himself with favorable matchups, especially if they try to shift safety help towards Sutton's side. If he can take advantage, that's a huge edge for Denver. Now let's not sugarcoat it, this is a dangerous Cowboys team. AOY projected a 37-25 Dallas win, citing concerns about Denver's offense being unable to keep pace. But let's not forget, Dallas hasn't beaten Denver since 1995, and we're wearing those classic throwbacks for a reason. There's something about this matchup that brings out the best in the Broncos. Whether it's a mental edge or just pure pride, Denver always shows up against the Cowboys. And maybe that's exactly what this team needs. A marquee matchup, all eyes on them, and a chance to make a statement on national TV. The Broncos can flip the narrative of their season with one signature win. One game where everything clicks. Where Bo Nix goes from rookie with potential to franchise quarterback. Where Sean Payton proves that this team is built to contend now, not in 2 or 3 years. Where the defense bends, but doesn't break. Where the fans in the Mile High City erupt as the clock hits 0. So I'll leave you with this. Are the Broncos ready for the moment? Is this the week that Bo Nix takes the leap and Sean Payton silences the critics? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Go Broncos! And if you're still with me, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and check out the other videos on your screen. Let's ride!